Check. Cool. Yo, these are some cool fancy moms, I'm not gonna lie. How's everybody doing? Enjoying the show? Alright, cool. Well, I got some new poetry here that I recently wrote, so I hope you guys enjoy it. I'd like to dedicate this piece to a good friend of mine, Theo. He's a student in the UK right now because he's British, and he gave me the inspiration to write this piece. So the title of the piece is called A Theater Piece, and I hope you all enjoy it. So here we go. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Amen. I allow my head to fall against the bosom of arms outstretched within the embrace of a welcoming pillow, enjoying the space for my mind to see clearly, having the rain of life's everyday thoughts within the dark clouds of my neurons dissipate. As my eyes begin to bounce back and forth behind the coffin of my eyelids in a spasmodic fashion of dystonia, my soul wanders into the theater of dreams where the imaginary becomes reality and the unthinkable possible. She said that she had some needs, and I knew that I had some wants. So I gave her what she wanted while I got what I needed. And when everything had been said and the deed was finally done, she went home beaming and satisfied, but I had none of my questions answered. She said she needed the money, and that's why every night she climbed that pole. But every time she went down on mine, I hesitated, not trusting whether she meant what she did or if she was just accustomed to the movements. And she was a favorite at the strip club because she gave the best lap dances. But every time she sat on mine, I could still feel the warmth of the man from the night before. I said she was better than this, but she said no one would hire her. I don't have experience, she would answer, although she had been working there for 5 years. And as I started to question if it was a case of low self-esteem or just plain ignorance as she was robbed of her body all the way to the bank to cash her bi-weekly check, I realized that we were drifting further and further apart with each successive night that I slept alone in the bedroom. The manager would excitedly extol her experience while working for him, barking about the manner in which she would slide up and down the pole fluidly like water, rubbing herself on the cold steel against the flare of her passionate young body's heat with her pouting lips, enticing vulnerable, eager souls of men into her seductive lair as her breast would bounce off slowly the minutes before the bartender's last call. She would touch and finger herself the way their hungry eyes would be imagining to handle her, reflecting in their ocular orifices the bloodthirsty manner with which they craved to tear at her. And with every silent whisper and succubus-like sigh she would sexually utter from the depths of her self-conflicted soul, men would clamor and fight each other over each abstractly objectified and cut up portion of her body to claim for themselves within the dark margins of the minute room. She was raped again and again, in every rotation of the gaze of the business's camera, being the accepted silent scapegoat to a system of misogyny, saturated every wet dream and stimulating the phallic erection of every customer that would walk into the door. She had learned from an early age to swallow her pride and their shame deep within the back of their throat, and to never look a cowboy in his eyes or a gift horse in its mouth. She had become many a CEO's sleep in fantasy and daydream, but was quickly turning into my physical nightmare, saying that she was mine and mine alone, no matter what she did, while invisible hands of other men suddenly stroked her body parts and sold between every syllable and break in her words. And I mentally broke down. realizing that I had become the forever lost message in a bottle and the genie locked within the lantern while the midnight oil continued to burn within that business every night to the sound of creaking wood and two-sided moans. She orgasmed against her will in the dominant and lucrative victimization of her body because it was all she had left to offer. Having her mind and chastity taken by her father in the vice of a game against his marital virtues and his deceitful trick, troubling the treats of her childhood, having her become a traitor to her own body, she would spawn more and more distance between us as she allowed herself to be skewered in the semen of violent wolves of abusers cloaked in the sheep's wool of community gentlemen. But suddenly, a harsh-sounding buzz stirs me from my subconscious thoughts, and I raise myself slowly from my bed. Reaching over and finding another covered one being sleeping soundly underneath my sheets, I looked over slowly. Terrified of the thought as to the unknown person laying within my room until my eyes focuses on her familiar face with a small infant sleeping soundly in the corner, and I quickly realized that I had only been dreaming. Soon to brush the dark, terrible imaginations from my mind. Thank you.